The candidates in the 2nd Congressional District race in southern New Mexico met this week for a debate in Las Cruces. Representative Steve Pearce, a Republican, is running for re-election. His opponent, Democrat Mary Lee Souls, is a former General Motors executive. They shared their priorities on issues like economic development and alternative energy. The full debate is at NewMexicoInFocus.org. Here's a bit of that conversation.
An annual report on childhood well-being showed that New Mexico has a higher percentage of children living in poverty than any other state in the nation. Beyond the federal assistance programs that help people survive, what can the federal government do to boost economic development efforts in the state to provide the good-paying jobs that people need to get off of those assistance programs?
Thanks, Walt. Appreciate each one of you being here. Sylvia, Fred, thanks to you. Congratulations to my opponent for being in the race. I'd like to also acknowledge my wife, Cynthia, in the studio audience today. The issue of poverty is one that should get more attention nationwide. I think I've visited with you all when I was in the editorial review that it's a focus that is going to be tightened up considerably in the coming Congress. I hope to be a part of that. But the most important thing we can do is provide the young people with an education. I go constantly into our schools, visit with our kids, evaluate the kind of education they're getting. But secondly, we need to be aware of those jobs that are potential in a rural state like New Mexico. That's one of the reasons that we fight so hard for the rural jobs that are here. I think that we should start, again, cutting timber out of our forest. That was 123 mills at one point in New Mexico. A lot of those mills in the 2nd District, they've been shut down over government regulations. Mining, the rare earth minerals, used to be a very important job in southern New Mexico. A lot of times people are saying that we should get high-tech jobs. We have to be realistic. Those are going to go to the large population centers. We just need to do what we can with what we have. But beginning in education, making sure that our skill sets are as high as we can, that'd be important. Now, at one point, I brought employers from around the state into those very desperate conditions that you referred to. Yeah. We had not job fairs, but hiring fairs. We hired 57 people on one day. I have taken representatives from those communities to some of the jobs here where they tell me they're looking for people.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Souls, same question. What can the federal government do to help provide good paying jobs here in New Mexico?
Thank you for that question. We need to be looking forward, not backwards. The backwards things that my opponent has mentioned are related to global competition. But we are stuck here in New Mexico. I would look to energy, clean and renewable energy, as a significant part of our future. I know from my business background, low-cost electricity is one of the key things that makes industry possible. And New Mexico has all of that potential. I would also look to connect the entire country. Connectivity today is a prerequisite to being able to do business. So broadband, internet service, that connectivity lets the people right here find opportunities, move forward. When we're not connected, we're not going forward, and we're being left behind.
Bloomberg has reported that there was a record $328 billion invested in clean energy last year worldwide. China led the way with $110 billion in clean energy projects, more than double what was invested in the United States. What can Congress do to spur more clean energy production here?
We have a lot of barriers to clean energy right here in New Mexico. When I took on El Paso Electric, a significant part of that was related to their continuing to choose natural gas-fired generation at a cost of 10.9 cents per kilowatt hour, where just recently, Xcel Energy signed a purchase power agreement at 3.5 cents per kilowatt hour. We absolutely can be an energy leader here in New Mexico to be creating the energy technologies of the future, whether that's the renewable energies that we know today, whether it's energy storage, whether it's how to capture and contain those carbon emissions that are related to global warming. We have it right here. We have the national labs, we have the top-notch universities, we have the experience with energy production of all kinds. To not step up to that, to get the barriers out of the way, to get the special interests out of the way, and really take that on, we're doing our entire state and our country and the world a disservice. Now's the time to get on with it, open the doors, make the investments, figure out the technologies, and embrace it, because our entire world depends on it.
Representative Pierce, your thoughts on further clean energy investments?
The idea of having alternative energy is one that is important, but it also needs to be recognized for the limitations. It's somewhere between 3 and 4% of our national power. If we convert too quickly, which is what Europe did, you'll find that your cost of power go up. Manufacturers there, some are shutting down 8 and 12-hour shifts because of the high cost of energy. And so understand that if we pour ourselves headlong into this, as my opponent suggests, know that we're just going to lose jobs, and that's the long and the short of it. Storage is the key to any alternative energy. The wind doesn't blow every day, the sun doesn't shine every day, except in Hobbs and here in Las Cruces. But know that storage is the key. We've been to Sandia, asked them what they're doing to increase it. They say we're 40 years away from adequate storage. I put a bill in that would let us have solar on public lands in massive amounts. So we support it, but the idea that it can replace coal and oil and gas is one that's way premature.
Okay, thank you.